Well, it's time to talk about your money here on Good Morning Quad Cities at 11. Some of the questions that we get are, how much money do you need to set aside for retirement, and has that number changed in recent years? So to help us sort through those ideas is Drue Kampmann from True Financial Partners in Bettendorf. Good morning, Drue. Thank you so much for joining us.
Hey, good morning. Good to be with you, David.
So I guess let's start with this probably loaded question. How much money do we need to save for retirement?
That's going to vary across the board because everybody's financial situation is unique. Everybody's going to need a different amount of money to support the lifestyle that they want. So it is a loaded question. It's complex. So everybody needs to plan according to their own financial situation from a savings standpoint, from an income standpoint. And those are all things that we work on every day, and we try to help people understand that their unique situation is different than everybody else's. And that's why you need to be informed and understand and be educated on how that needs to be addressed.
And as a financial advisor, what are some of the common misconceptions that you come across?
This year's a big wake-up call because really the last decade or so, we've been in really low inflation. And a lot of people may not plan according to higher inflation in their long-term plan. And that's going to erode their purchasing power. It's going to impact them financially down the road. And I think it's extremely important that you have a long-term plan, income plan, and investment plan that's going to address inflation, that you're going to plan accordingly, because you need to know those things today, and you don't want to run into that situation down the road where you haven't planned accordingly. And that's important right now.
I think a lot of times when people are thinking about their retirement, they may only think about their 401k, but is that good enough, or should we be looking at some other things?
401ks are great tools because it's payroll deducted, automatically comes out each pay period, but there's also Roth IRAs, traditional IRAs, even other brokerage accounts where you can save above and beyond your 401k. A 401k is a great tool because oftentimes you're going to receive a company match. So you want to take advantage of those savings tools. But there's other options too that you want to be involved in different tax structures like Roth IRAs, which are going to be tax-free when you make withdrawals, brokerage accounts, which don't have the requirements as far as age requirements of withdrawing those funds because it's taxable. So there's also other tools that you need to be putting your money away in each and every year.
And is there certain thresholds we should be meeting as we get older and as we continue to build up that retirement? I know that I've heard some things in the past of you should have this much of how much you make, your salary, set aside in your retirement by this age. Are there any good rules of thumb that we should be following?
I think a good rule of thumb is when you first start your first job, you start saving. And we focus on how much you save each year. And that could be, what I think is a good starting point would be 10% annually from your salary. And that also means that there's additional each year that you want to save. So I always like to put in a 1% inflation on that. So each and every year, you're going to increase your savings 1% every year. So let's say 20 years down the road, now you're going to be saving maybe 20 to 30% of your income. And those changes each year are minimal to your income, so you really don't even notice that. So I think it's important that you address that each year.
You know, and with the record high inflation, some people watching this are probably thinking, well, I can't put aside 10% of my salary.
Yeah.
I'm deciding between paying for groceries or my prescriptions. So what would be your message to them, the people that are struggling to save the way it is?
Make sure you're paying attention to your budget. And, saving is hard when there's higher inflation, but also with higher inflation means higher interest rates. So with higher interest rates, that means managing debt becomes more complex, more expensive. So I would also say address those debt issues, address paying down those debts so you can put more money towards whether it's lifestyle or towards your retirement savings. I think those are important.
And we've heard the term recession thrown around a lot. We've heard that there's a possibility, a lot of economists saying that within the next 12 months we'll hit one. Should we be making any sort of changes now?
Again, it goes back to your budget. I think my opinion on it is I believe we're already in a recession. I think behavior lags. And what that means is I think you need to be more engaged in your money, be more engaged in your monthly budget, see where you're spending dollars and utilize and redirecting those dollars towards those higher expenses and those needs. That means you may have to take a break from some of those fun things that you like to do and enjoy, but you need to manage your lifestyle too and those payments and continue that same lifestyle through managing that debt.
Drue Kampmann with True Financial Partners in Bettendorf. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thanks, David. Have a great day.
You too.